Hi, welcome to Turks. I am your host, Cenk, and just when it looked like the Wisconsin story was in some ways beginning to die down, it pulls us back in. First of all, we have action on Wisconsin. The House in Wisconsin has to pass the union busting bill. Remember, of course, the Senate is the big problem because it's the 14 Democratic state senators who are in Illinois and are preventing the vote overall. Just because they can't help themselves, the Republicans in the House in Wisconsin were dicks about it anyway. Apparently, in the middle of the debate, while the Democrats weren't sure what was going on, they threw the vote out there. Only a couple of Democrats got the vote. They're like, "What is this? The real vote? What's going on?" And then next thing you know, they passed it. The Democrats got mad again, and they started yelling. Started walking towards the Republicans, yelling. These are the state congressmen yelling, "Shame, shame, shame! It is a shame. The gentleman is wrong. The gentleman is correct in sitting. The gentleman is correct in running away to Illinois." Anyway, so that's the latest. The bill still hasn't passed because of the Senate side, as we told you. It turns out the head of the Republicans in the Wisconsin Congress, well, his wife got a layoff notice. She's apparently a teacher. Oops. So he's sending out the cops and the troopers to troll around those Democratic state senators' houses to see if he can nab them if they're coming back into the state. Although, do you know that he actually doesn't have any right or power to arrest them? So he says, "Well, I just want to show them the full force of our authority." What does that mean? But like you would just, again, as usual with the Wisconsin Republicans, we want to intimidate them and we want to show them, yeah, we got the cops. But the reality is, of course, the cops are union, so they're made to carry out these orders that they're not really necessarily in favor of. Anyway, what are they going to do? Just like scowl at the state senators? They can't arrest them. "Oh, I'm a cop." What, are you trying to physically threaten them? What is it? So as all this is happening, we get a great quote from our president from the past. Now, Barack Obama, when he was running in 2007 in South Carolina, was very clear on this topic. Now, I often tell you, President Obama was a lot more progressive before he was president, when he was running, when he was campaigning. Not when he was a senator. I'm not saying that he's been this amazing progressive throughout his career. No. As a senator, he hardly ever challenged George W. Bush, and that was my top concern with him. But when he was a candidate, he was all progressive. Now people say, "Oh, no, that's not true. As a candidate, he was totally moderate too." Really? Now let me give you a quote from candidate Obama, and let's see if you can tell the difference between him and President Obama. In 2007, while running in South Carolina, he said, "If American workers are being denied their right to organize when I'm in the White House, I will put on a comfortable pair of shoes and I will walk on that picket line with you as President of the United States." Now, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say that was right? No, that was wrong. Am I not supposed to use the lie word? I don't know. You could say, hey, it's a different context. In that context, he was trying to sucker you into voting for him, pretending to be a progressive. In this context, he's the president, and he's trying to please his friends in Washington. And his friends in Washington say, no, no, no. The teachers of Wisconsin must pay. You have to cut their spending. Oh, now that their rights, well, look at this. Denied their right to organize when I am in the White House, I will put on shoes, walk on that line. What happened? Where's your shoes? Where's your shoes? I don't see them. All of a sudden, oh, he's kicking back, putting his feet up. You know where he's going in the beginning of March? He's going down to Florida to do fundraisers. Well, look, I know he's the president. He does fundraisers. That's what he does, right? Well, I don't see him on that line. I don't see him in the protests. That's because he didn't have any intention of doing any of that stuff. What his intention was, give me the votes, and you give me the money, I'll get elected president, and then I'll spend the next 4 years trying to get reelected president. And if my friends in Washington don't like it, I will never support the workers. I mean, here they are, record-breaking protest after protest, and where's the president? Now, forget his shoes. Forget walking there, as I've suggested, as candidate Obama himself suggested. He hasn't even said anything about it since last Thursday when he accidentally slipped up and said he was kind of in favor of them. And then since then, furious backpedals. The White House saying, we've got nothing to do with it. We don't. You know what? Here, I'll give you their quotes from yesterday when asked about this specific quote from candidate Obama. Here's what Jay Carney, White House spokesperson, said. I think what we have made pretty clear is that the president thinks, and we think, that obviously a lot of states in the union are dealing with fiscal issues, big problems in their state budgets. They need to act responsibly, tighten their belts, live within their means, just as we in Washington, the executive branch, Congress, need to do with our federal situation. Did you hear anything about supporting workers? Did you hear anything about supporting unions, about walking with them, putting on any issues? Did you hear anything? No. What you heard was they better tighten their belt. They got to cut spending. That's it. It sounds like he's on the Republican side, doesn't it? It sounds like Governor Walker gave that statement. Well, Jay Carney continues. He made his viewpoints known on the situation in Wisconsin, the need for people to come together. Again, not on the side of the workers. People need to come together. By the way, the Democrats are outside of the state. So what's he doing? Telling them to come inside the state? He continues. He takes very seriously the fiscal situations that the states find themselves in and understands it because he understands it at the federal level. But he encourages the parties involved to come together and sacrifice together. It's as if a Republican White House spokesperson put that together. Because look at the undertone. Look at the clear implication. They need to sacrifice those teachers, those workers, those public union people. They need fiscal budgets are very important. And what we do, we cut spending here. And I'm glad they're cutting spending throughout the states. And they better come together to share the pain. Oh, did the rich folks share the pain? No. President Obama just gave him an over $800 billion tax cut along with the Republicans. No. But as long as they're comfortable, then no, well, the workers, they got to come together to share the pain and tighten their belts. Look, on the one hand, I want to stop talking about Obama, right? Because the guy, I mean, he's not going to do it. I mean, what am I thick? Do I not get it? It's been over 2 years. He's not a progressive, and he's never going to come to the rally to bring in the cavalry, leadership, none of that stuff. It's not going to happen, okay? It's a false dream. On the other hand, I do a show about politics. What am I going to do? Not talk about the president? Okay, but I need you to understand. Look, read the quotes for yourself. I mean, I'm not making it up. You go look at the information yourself. This guy is not going to come on your side. He's just not going to do it. That's not who he is. He is a consummate politician, and he's going to try to find a way to please whoever he's in the room with. And right now, he's in Washington and can't seem to see straight out of that. He just thinks that everybody in the country is just like the people in Washington who are massively right-wing. Washington couldn't be more right-wing. Well, good luck with that, Mr. President. See how it turns out for you. Because if he keeps going in this direction, a guy that I thought couldn't lose in 2012 because of his competition. The competition is so heinous and ridiculous. But now I think maybe this guy can find a way to lose. And when he starts talking to me about progressive crap, when he realizes too late, about a year from now, okay, when he gets into the thick of the campaign, he's all of a sudden, Pluff is going to talk to him, others, and they're going to say, oh my God, we won last time pretending to be a progressive. Remember when we said we were going to change the system and reform the system? Turns out that's what they wanted. Golly gee willikers. They're going to turn around furiously, and he's going to sound like the biggest progressive in the world. You think he'll do it if he wins in 2012? He ain't going to do it, man. It's look, he hasn't even turned progressive at all, not even close yet. But if he does, which I think he will in the heat of the campaign, don't believe the hype. Okay, he ain't going to do it. Now, not like he's even promising to do it right now. He's got no interest in doing it. Okay. You know who's more progressive than President Obama? Shep Smith, a Fox News anchor. By a mile. Look, now this is going to overstate Shep's importance, but it's definitely going to overstate it given what I'm about to tell you. But Shep is a little like our Walter Cronkite. Now, calm down. I don't mean in his gravitas. I don't mean in his importance. I don't mean as a journalist, his credibility, etc. This is what I mean. Our presidents in the past knew that they were in trouble when they lost Cronkite, right? And with Shep, it's a little similar because, look, when he turns, I'm not saying he's a real progressive. I don't know his politics, right? But there comes a point when Shep goes, okay, no, I can't do it. I'm on Fox News, but I can't do it. No, we left people to die here during Hurricane Katrina. When he said that, public opinion, and it wasn't just based on Shep. He's kind of a barometer. It's not that he's pushing the public opinion. It's just he's right in terms of when the public goes, I can't take it anymore. And that's what happened during Hurricane Katrina. That's what happened in the 9/11 responders bill. And now that's what's happening in Wisconsin. So let's listen to Shep Smith on Fox News about Wisconsin. Clip 10.
And the governor says, you know what, I don't want unions to be able to take dollars out of union members' pockets and contribute it to the Democrats. And the Democrats are saying we insist on having this right if that's what we want to do for our unions because they're essential in order to support Democrats' campaigns.
Have you looked at the list of the top 10 donors to political campaigns in America, the top 10 highest? Yes. Seven of those 10 donate to Republicans.
Correct.
The other 3 that remain of those top 10,
unions.
They all donate to Democrats, and they're all unions.
Right.
Bust the unions, it's over.
Yeah, so you just told me the whole deal, buddy.
That's the whole thing.
That's the whole
deal. Started when? Started with the Koch brothers, right?
Yep.
Koch brothers were organizing in the state. I'm not taking a side on this. I'm telling you what's going on.
I'm glad you said, because that's exactly the story.
I'm not taking a side.
No,
the
but let me tell you,
people don't want to hear the facts.
No, exactly. And so just by telling the facts, you're angering a lot of people.
Okay, let them get angry. Facts are troublesome creatures from time to time. The Koch brothers, among others, were organizing to try to bust labor. It's what big business wants to do, bust labor. This isn't a new concept. So they started getting organized. They gave a bunch of money to the governor's campaign. The governor's campaign is over. Now, away we go. We're going to try to bust this union up, and that's what they're doing. If you're against the unions, you're all for the governor. If you're for the union, this is political.
Nailed it. That's exactly what it is. And you notice what Juan Williams is saying. He's like, look, man, you're going to piss off that Fox News audience by telling them the truth. So be careful what you're doing. But Shep's like, no, I'm going to do it anyway. And, of course, he's 100% right in this case. And, I think that, again, I think he'll be a barometer to some degree. I think that a lot of the country is going to look at this and go, this isn't what we signed up for, attacking the middle class, attacking the average worker, pretending that the deficit's all their fault. It's not their fault. And, some might agree with cutting spending on public unions, et cetera. And look, it's a worthy discussion. I'm not the kind of guy who says, no, under no circumstances can we ever cut spending. Not even close. I'm a deficit hog. These are discussions that need to be had and negotiated. But when you strip somebody of their right to be able to, represent their own side, and you do it in this way, in this authoritarian way, without any discussion or negotiation, people get uncomfortable with it, and they get it. It's political. It's to bust the unions so the Republicans can have a bigger advantage. Good job on Shep's part to call it out, and that is exactly the reality here. And look, partly based on that USA Today Gallup poll, where it was nearly a 2-to-1 margin, people saying unions need to have the right to collectively bargain, and partly on my instincts. I think Walker is on the wrong side of this politically, and I think it's going to do him damage, and I think it's going to do a lot of other Republicans damage if they continue that way. And you know how I like to do predictions. I don't like to do Monday morning quarterback. I like to do Saturday afternoon quarterback. We got to come up with a better name for that. Friday evening quarterback? I don't know. Before the college games start. Anyway, I think polls are going to come out soon saying, Walker, totally unpopular. Look, I'm discounting the AFL-CIO poll. I know they'd already said that. But, I get it. If you're nonpartisan, you look at that and you go, well, that was a poll commissioned by labor, right? Even though it's from a polling organization, that polling organization is Democratic too. So let's wait for the neutral polls, whatever. And my guess is when those polls come in that it's not going to be pretty for Walker, and it's not going to be pretty for the Republicans in Wisconsin. Let's see how it turns out. And by the way, if you watched the MSNBC show last night, you see, some of the other Republican governors running for the hills. And let me make a quick point about that. So now Kasich in Ohio is saying, wait, did I say taking away collective bargaining rights? I don't know about that. Of course, everybody's got a right to protest, and God bless their hearts. And then Mitch Daniels, who had taken away collective bargaining rights already in Indiana, who was going to go after private unions, and Republican legislators in his state had already begun that. All of a sudden, he's like, "Oh no, the protests are great. What are you talking about? Us here doing that? No, we're not doing that." Even Rick Scott and Chris Christie, to some degree, are backpedaling. Now, those guys are extreme in Florida and New Jersey. So, you know what? The good people of Wisconsin, you did a great service for the rest of the country. I don't know if you're going to win that battle in Wisconsin. I really don't know. I hope you do, and I believe and I have faith, etc., and keep fighting, right? But win or lose that specific battle, I really think you sent a message to the rest of the country, and you got these extreme Republican governors backpedaling right now, and they don't want to, take you guys on. They don't want to create another situation where they've got protesters standing up and saying, "Look, we're the middle class, and we're not going to go away, and we're not going to let you pin this on us, and we're not going to let you, cut our pay and take away our rights without a fight." And so you sent a really powerful message, and I think it really worked. And so when we talk about, hey, don't rely on the president, don't rely on leadership, this is the perfect example of that. Obama didn't show up. He wasn't going to show up. He wasn't going to put on his shoes to come. Nobody from Washington showed up. Nobody. But good riddance to them. What happened? People rose up. They did good old-fashioned democratic protests, what we're supposed to do in this country, and they stopped the momentum of union busting throughout the country that the Republicans were definitely planning. How do we know they were definitely planning it? Among other reasons, because when Governor Walker was talking to the fake David Koch, the guy he thought was his billionaire donor, he said, "Oh, the fake Koch says, can't wait for the domino effect." And Walker says, "Yeah, absolutely. This is our moment." Well, it turns out it wasn't your moment, Scott Walker, when you blew it and other Republicans are running away from you. Huckabee was joking about Walker saying, "Oh, I was late to this event because I had to take a 20-minute call from a donor," etc. You become a joke now. I can't be prouder of the people of Wisconsin. You did such a great job, not just for your own state and for your own jobs and for your own rights, but for all of us. So now let's go to loathsome Republicans. Actually, let's take a quick break and then come back and give you a loathsome Republican reaction to Wisconsin.
Welcome back to the Young Turks. Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur with you. All right, we just ended a segment by talking about abortion. Kanye West also talked about abortion. He took to his Twitter account to talk about how costly abortion can be for the ballers out there. So I'm going to read you his tweet verbatim. He uses the N-word in it. Obviously, I'm not the person using the N-word. I'm just reading his exact quote. Okay, so here's his tweet. He says, "An abortion can cost a balling nigga up to 50 G's, maybe 100. Gold digging bitches be getting pregnant on purpose. Strap up, my niggas." Okay. So
no one has ever read a Kanye West quote whiter than you just did, Anna.
No, I know. I mean, what am I supposed to say? I don't know how to read it any other way. So
No. Please don't try to read it black. Please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, I figure I'd make an even bigger fool of myself if I did that.
Oh, no question.
So, first of all, very random tweet, but Kanye West is known for tweeting things that are a little controversial and a little weird and random. But, I tried to basically figure out what he's talking about, right? Like, why would an abortion cost $50,000 to $100,000? And then I realized he means women who get pregnant by rich men, and then the rich men want her to get an abortion, and she says, "I won't do it unless you pay up," right? So that's what I'm referring to.
You nailed it. That's exactly what it means. Okay. Now, he says that he heard of people in that situation, and it wasn't him.
Yeah.
I know. My friend has a gambling problem. I know. Okay. So, but put that aside for a second. Listen, he shouldn't be complaining, because if you're in that situation and the woman has the baby, you're going to pay 1,000,000 times more. So I don't want anybody to get confused. Kanye is not pro-life. He wants them to have the abortion. He just wants them to have it for cheaper.
Right. Unbelievable. But you're right, Cenk. First of all, totally fishy, totally suspicious. He says it's not him, but it probably is, right? And this guy is a millionaire. $50,000 to $1,000 is what he spends on his toothpaste. Like, calm down, Kanye.
Hey, he just believes in education. You know, it's like we said, there should be sexual education, there should be contraception, all these things, right? He just believes in educating my niggas. Am I right, Anna? Is that how it's said?
All right, don't be hard on me, okay? Don't be hard on me. But you know what? You're right, because the foundation of his message is correct, all right? He wants people to strap up. And you want to strap up because it'll prevent HPV, both orally and genitally, and and it'll prevent pregnancies, unwanted pregnancies. So that's a good thing.
Right. Well, his baller friends should have thought about that before they knocked the girls up. So, and by the way, I really don't know if it is him. It could be one of his friends, and he's just frustrated. But obviously, someone he knows is getting, bribed for that kind of money. But I'm surprised because if they really are gold diggers, those women should definitely have the kids. They'll make so much more if they have them.
Yeah, you're right. That would be, is investment the right word? A good investment? You're investing your time raising a kid, but you make it. This is my favorite story of the day. Maine Governor Paul LePage was asked about BPA in plastics and whether or not the government should pass legislation that would ban BPA. So you guys remember we had Jonathan Kim in studio. We talked about some of the dangerous effects of BPA. Right now, studies are very limited, but a lot of health experts are saying that BPA is dangerous, especially if you heat food up in a plastic container in a microwave, right? So Paul LePage was asked about BPA and whether or not he should take part in attempting to ban it. And his quote was hilarious. This is what he said. If you take a plastic bottle and put it in the microwave and heat it up, it gives off a chemical similar to estrogen. So the worst case is some women might have little beards. So that was his way of being dismissive of, the BPA claims, right? So he's like, it's not a big deal.
Anna, you're just worried that you're going to get a beard, And by the way, if you're getting a beard, I'm sure it's not having any bad effect on anything else. Like if there's kids around or something, I bet they're not affected by those chemicals at all.
Right, no. The level of ignorance and dismissive attitude in the quote is both terrible. I mean, a governor should not have that type of mentality, right? It's both terrible, but also a little funny. And, of course I don't agree with him, but the fact that he's willing to release a quote like that amazes and shocks me. How can you say something like that?
I am shocked to chagrin.
You're a government official.
Had enough. It's gonna stop.
I had to do it. I had to use the soundboard.
All right, nicely done, actually. Look, I think that at this point, like I said before, they're brazen. They think all we got to do is collect the money from the people who pollute, the people who take from society in 18 different ways. Mm-hmm. We get reelected. We can say anything we like. It's never going to have any consequences. The voters will barely find out. In the end, we'll drown them out with our political ads right before the election. So now they're just in our face about it. They're like, oh yeah, so what? You're going to get a little beard? Okay, too bad.
By the way, so the reason why BPA is very negative for your health, according to some studies, is because it does have a chemical that mimics estrogen, right? And the reason why that's problematic is because with young girls, you're seeing them experience puberty earlier and earlier. So there was a study on young girls done this year, actually, and it showed that they're getting puberty as early as 8 years old. So, and that's because they're having this fake estrogen type chemical in their bodies because of BPA. So yeah, it's disastrous.
No, I bet that won't create any health problems. We'll be fine. Let them pollute. They pay the governors. They pay the senators. It'll be fine.
All right. George Clooney had a long interview with Newsweek magazine. He was talking about his humanitarian efforts in South Sudan, and I read the entire article, and I was really impressed by George Clooney because you hear about these celebrities who go to different countries throughout the world that need help, and I feel like it's always some sort of PR move, right? Except he's actually spent his own money to build a private satellite that keeps an eye on Sudan. Okay? Because how amazing is that?
That is amazing. Look, I think Clooney's totally earnest, and I think he's a great guy. You know, some celebrities, you can smell that it's a PR move from a million miles away. With Clooney, it's definitely not. But I didn't know about the satellite thing. That is really going the extra mile.
Completely privately funded. He obviously funded it, and he wants to keep an eye on this one particular area where experts believe that, you know, a war is about to break out. He wants to keep an eye on that, right? So
yeah, southern Sudan is being crushed oftentimes by northern Sudan. There's ethnic issues there, and then there's been tremendous violence. And, you know, it's one of those areas, it's a real trouble spot in the world that no one really cares about because there isn't oil, there isn't any other geopolitical interest, so the rest of the world ignores it. The fact that Clooney is going so out of his way to keep a focus on it is just awesome.
It is awesome, I agree. So Clooney was asked by the Newsweek reporter whether or not he has any interest in participating in the political spectrum. Does he ever want to run for president? And his quote was awesome, okay? This is the type of politician that I want to see in office. This is what he said. I didn't have my life in the right way for politics. I fucked too many chicks and did too many drugs, and that's the truth. He continues to say that telling the truth is key for a campaigner. He says a savvy politician would start from the beginning and say, I did it all. I drank the bong water. Now let's talk about the issues. That's going to be my campaign slogan. I drank the bong water.
All right. Again, who doesn't love George Clooney? So, and isn't it really weird and perverse that we have a political system who is that does not reward honesty, that punishes it? Says, hey, if you're trying to do the right thing in Sudan, etc., nobody cares. But tell me about the women you've been with and the drugs you. Who cares? Who cares? That Clooney. But he's right. He'd be eliminated by that. He had sex with too many women. Why? Why does that eliminate you? But everybody would focus on it. He's also right that if you were going to run, that you should get that stuff out of the way first. In fact, he's so right about that. Governor of Indiana, Mitch Daniels, is a Republican, just went and admitted to the Daily Princetonian that he got arrested when he was at Princeton in 1970 for having 2 large shoeboxes full of marijuana, LSD, and prescription drugs.
What?
Now, why would he admit that out of nowhere? Because he wanted to get it out of the way because he's thinking of running for president.
That's awesome.
And so if anybody brings it up again, he'll say, oh, that's old news. Oh, that's personal. I can't believe, you know, you went to that. Just like Newt Gingrich did at Penn the other day, saying, oh, my extramarital affairs. How dare you bring that up? That's personal.
No, you know what, though? I love the idea of getting it out of the way. And I think that politicians really underestimate, you know, the public's appeal toward honesty, right? Like, whenever someone's honest, you immediately think, this person's honest, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, for instance, I'll give you guys a little inside baseball example. So there was one Saturday where Crazy Cenk wanted us to come in and work, right? And I had plans with my family. Jesus was out of town. JR emails back and basically says, look, I'm going to a party. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be alcohol. There's going to be a good time. I'm not coming in on Saturday. And I remember reading that and thinking, all right, JR for the win.
But look, I'm the kind of boss that you could tell that to, and I say, okay, well, it looks like he's got a good plan. I don't want to bust it up. I just needed somebody to come in and help me shoot the, you know, the post games for the members. But and Dave and Lucas stepped up. God bless their hearts. But look, we reward that kind of honesty, but a lot of times people don't. And you know, and then the thing that drives me crazy, of course, about Republicans is their double standard. So when a Republican does it, they're like, "What? We already told you we smoked a lot of dope and LSD. We already told you I had sex and cheated on my wife 100 times." But if a Democrat does it, like Clooney, he'd be in massive trouble.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. But that's because the Republicans and the conservative media know how to spin things. And, you know, you don't see news organizations like MSNBC play something over and over and over again if it casts a negative light, casts a Republican in a negative light. But if there's a Democrat who messed up, Fox News will loop it all day long, 24/7 news cycle. That's how it works. So a part of that has to do with the media, in my opinion. So,
definitely.
All right, let's do it. Let's get to Charlie Sheen. You know, I've been ignoring this story for a while now, but it's exploded to the point where it's super interesting and basically shows how much of a failure Charlie Sheen is. All right. So CBS has just canceled 2.5 Men, which stars Charlie Sheen. And the reason why they canceled it is because Charlie Sheen was livid that they decided to postpone the rest of the season so he can go to rehab, right? He was really upset about that. He didn't want them to postpone the season. So he goes on Alex Jones's radio show, and he talks about the creator of the show, whose name is Chuck Lorre, all right? And this is what he had to say about it. I'm tired of being told, you can't talk about that, you can't talk about that. Bullshit. There's something this side of deplorable that a certain Haim Levine, yeah, that's Chuck's real name, mistook this rock star for his own selfish exit strategy, bro. Check it. Alex, I embarrassed him in front of his children and the world by healing at a pace that his unevolved mind cannot process. Last I checked, Haim, I'm sorry, I spent close to the last decade effortlessly and magically converting your tin cans into pure gold. And the gratitude I get is this charlatan chose not to do his job, which is to write. Clearly someone who believes he's above the law.
All right, so let me break this down. First of all, Sheen is mad that they have canceled the rest of the 2.5 Men season because Chuck is saying, I'm done with it, because he's the executive producer and the head writer of the show, and because of stuff that Charlie Sheen has said about him before even this quote. And look, on the one hand, you can't let people's personal insults get to you and take down the whole show. But on the other hand, Charlie Sheen seems to be unbearable. And how many insults can you take as the person who's putting together the show? And look, you know me, I have a bias in favor of Charlie Sheen in the past. It's because I have a couple of friends who are a lot like Charlie Sheen, like Kanye West kind of type. I have friends who are like Charlie Sheen. Mm-hmm. No, in this case, it really is true. So I have a soft spot for him. But he's over the top here. But by the way, the writing on the show is excellent. And the writing on all of Chuck Lorre's shows are excellent. And they don't depend on Charlie Sheen. Now, Charlie Sheen's been great on that show, but can they do it without him? I think they, not just that show, but I'm saying create great shows without him? Absolutely they can. So for him to think that it's all him and he turned it into gold, that actually really irritated me. But I'll tell you the thing that irritated me the most is what people are pointing out, and I think they're right, is the very thinly veiled anti-Semitism. Saying, oh, his real name is Haim Levine. Come on, there's only one reason why you're saying that. Mm-hmm. No, can't have it. Can't play with it. Can't win with it. No, it's ugly.
Yeah, he also talked to TMZ about this issue. I want to read you guys the quote that he gave to them. He said, I violently hate Haim Levine. He's a stupid little man and a pussy punk, and I'd never want to be like. That I'd never like to be like.
Yeah, no, every interview he's going back to Haim Levine. Come on, it's so obvious. No, it's unacceptable. No, he's even lost me. If he lost me, man, Charlie, you're way, way on the wrong path.
Yeah, and look, what I find super questionable is the fact that he's doing all these interviews talking about how awesome and amazing he is for rehabilitating himself in such a short period of time. He obviously has some severe issues with drinking and drugs, and he still needs help. He's under the impression that, he's in the right state of mind and he's completely stable. Based on these interviews, he's completely unstable. He needs to go back to rehab. So, yeah, you're right, Cenk. He's completely unbearable. And look, I've never really liked Charlie Sheen to begin with, right? But this just throws me over the edge. Like, Charlie Sheen, you're done.
Look, one more context on his stupid Haim Levine comments. It's like when people say Barack Hussein Obama. Right. They're not saying that by mistake. You know why they're saying it. They're trying to paint him as Muslim, right? And that's what Charlie Sheen is doing with Chuck Lorre in this case. They're like, haha, he's Jewish. And what? What's your point? So it's really look, the guy's got a problem, man. It's sad, and for him to be doing this in public, it's terrible. And look, I guess he's got enough money, and I don't know if he can blow it all on coke for the rest of his life, but he's getting close to ending his career, not because of comments he's making about Chuck Lorre, but because who wants to work with a guy like that?
Right. I don't.
No, I mean, if you were going to do a project, TV show, movie, or whatever, would you want to take on Charlie Sheen? he thinks he's the, the guy who makes everything happen, and he has all the power, and he can do whatever he wants, and then he'll badmouth you in public like this to extreme degrees, I wouldn't take him on a project because I think he'll tank the project.
No, you're right. I think that that's probably the most unbearable thing that a coworker could do. Think that they're the reason why whatever you're doing is successful. That sense of entitlement, that sense of I'm better than everyone else, it's the most unbearable thing on the planet. So you're right. I wouldn't want to take on that project either. So there you have it. There's Charlie Sheen. All right, let's talk about more stories after we take a break. The health department in New York is thinking of giving us information in a different way about the restaurants we eat at. So I'll give you that story. Plus, we will talk to you about a penis restaurant in China. We'll be back with that and more on the Young Turks.